When I was about 12 years old, Gran Betty abandoned an entire trolley full of shopping in the middle of a supermarket and calmly walked away from the checkout while people stared at us like we had committed a crime. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. The cashier looked confused. The woman behind us folded her arms impatiently. Someone actually sighed out loud. And there was Gran Betty, completely unbothered, turning the trolley around like she had all the time in the world. I remember whispering furiously, "Gran, what are you doing?" And without even looking stressed, she leaned down and quietly said, "I'm refusing to let a supermarket bully me into bad decisions." At the time I thought she was eccentric. Now I think she may have understood money better than almost anyone I know. Because Gran Betty believed supermarkets were not ordinary shops. She believed they were carefully engineered psychological machines, designed to separate ordinary people from their money one emotional decision at a time. And once she explained it to me properly, I could never walk through a supermarket the same way again. She would point everything out as we walked the aisles together. The warm bakery smell pumped through the vents near the entrance. The giant yellow signs screaming "Special offer." The expensive brands positioned exactly at eye level. The essentials placed deliberately far apart, so you walked past more temptation. The sweets beside the tills, strategically waiting for exhausted shoppers whose willpower had finally collapsed. Gran Betty would narrow her eyes and quietly say, "Nothing in this building is accidental." And honestly, she was right. The strange thing is, most people think overspending happens because somebody is careless or bad with money. Gran Betty completely disagreed. She used to tell me, "People don't overspend because they're foolish. They overspend because they're tired." That sentence stayed with me for years. Because think about it. Most shopping happens when people are already mentally drained. After work, after school runs, after stressful days. When hungry, when rushing, when distracted. And that is exactly when human beings make emotional decisions. Supermarkets know this. Advertising companies know this. Apps know this. Online stores know this. Entire industries are built around understanding what happens to people when they stop pausing. Gran Betty understood that long before most people realized it themselves. Now the funny thing is, Gran Betty was not naturally disciplined. That surprised me when she first admitted it. Because as a child, I genuinely thought she had superhuman self-control. But one afternoon while we sat in the supermarket cafe drinking tea, she told me something I never forgot. She said, "Good money habits are not about being strong, they're about making bad decisions harder." That completely changed how I think about finances. Because most people rely on motivation. Gran Betty relied on systems. And the most powerful system she ever created was something she called the 30-minute trolley sit. Honestly, this tiny habit probably saved her thousands and thousands of pounds over her lifetime. And today I want to tell you exactly how it worked because this one method changed the way I shop forever. Now at first, Gran Betty shopped exactly like everybody else. She walked the aisles, she checked prices carefully. She followed her handwritten shopping list. And that list was serious business. Gran Betty never trusted memory in supermarkets. "A shopping list protects your brain from negotiations," she used to say. Even now I can still picture her little folded piece of paper tucked inside her handbag. Milk, bread, tea, vegetables, washing powder. Simple. But supermarkets are masters at breaking focus. And eventually temptation always started creeping into the trolley. Fancy biscuits, a luxury dessert, a limited edition snack. A giant multi-pack that looked like a bargain. A reduced item with one of those bright yellow stickers practically screaming for attention. And Gran Betty never pretended she was immune. That is what made her advice feel honest. She never acted superior. Instead, she would smile and say, "Every person has a weak moment. Smart people just prepare for it." Then came the unusual part. Right before checkout, instead of joining the queue immediately, Gran Betty would park the trolley somewhere quiet and walk away from it for exactly 30 minutes. 30 full minutes. No scrolling on her phone. No wandering through more aisles. No browsing online shops while waiting. Just distance. Sometimes we sat outside on a bench. Sometimes we had tea in the cafe. Sometimes we simply sat quietly in the car. And when I was younger, I thought the whole thing was ridiculous. Who deliberately delays getting home after grocery shopping? But then I started noticing what happened every single time. When Gran Betty returned to the trolley, her entire mindset had changed. The emotional excitement disappeared. The urgency vanished. The cravings weakened. Suddenly she was calm, logical, almost clinical. She would slowly pick up each extra item and ask herself questions. Did I come here for this? Would I still want this tomorrow? Am I paying for usefulness or emotion? And one by one, unnecessary items started disappearing from the trolley. Back went the expensive crisps. Back went the bakery treats. Back went the scented candle she absolutely did not need. Back went the giant multi-pack of fizzy drinks. Gran Betty had one iron rule. If it wasn't on the list, at least half of it goes back. No excuses. And honestly, watching her do this was fascinating. Because while everyone else in the supermarket became more stressed as shopping continued, Gran Betty became calmer and calmer. She used to tell me, "Impulse is the tax you pay for not pausing." That woman had a one-liner for every situation in life. And the strangest part? Science actually supports what she figured out naturally decades ago. Years later, I discovered psychologists call this decision fatigue. The more decisions human beings make, the worse their judgment becomes over time. Which explains why supermarkets strategically place temptation everywhere near the end of the journey, when people are mentally exhausted. Gran Betty somehow understood all of this, without reading a single psychology book. She simply observed human behavior carefully. And honestly, she observed herself carefully too. That is something people overlook. Gran Betty never claimed perfection. She knew exactly how easy it was to get manipulated emotionally. Especially when tired. Especially when hungry. In fact, she had another strict rule that worked alongside the trolley seat. Never shop hungry. Ever. She treated that rule like a law of nature. Never let your stomach make financial decisions. And I learned that lesson the hard way. One evening after work, years after leaving home, I ignored all her advice. I was exhausted, stressed, starving. I went into the supermarket intending to buy pasta and washing up liquid. That was it. 10 minutes later, I somehow had gourmet desserts, bakery snacks, frozen pizza, spicy noodles, fancy drinks, crisps, chocolate, and a kitchen gadget I later used exactly twice before hiding in a cupboard forever. When the cashier told me the total, I actually felt embarrassed. And the worst part? Half of it disappeared within 48 hours. Gran Betty just looked at the receipt when I told her and smiled knowingly. Then she said, "Most cravings expire faster than the receipt prints." Honestly, I nearly framed that sentence, because it is painfully true. Think about how many things feel urgent in the moment, then completely meaningless days later. That late-night online purchase, that flash sale, that random gadget, that emotional treat. Gran Betty believed companies make fortunes from people confusing temporary excitement with genuine value. And once she explained that to me, I started noticing it everywhere. Especially with special offers. Now, let me tell you something fascinating about Gran Betty. She absolutely hated fake bargains. Hated them. Most people see a discount and feel excitement. Gran Betty saw a psychological trap. She would hold reduced items in her hand and quietly ask, "Would I buy this at full price?" If the answer was no, back it went. Then came another classic Gran Betty line. Cheap rubbish is still rubbish. She believed supermarkets trained people to feel victorious simply because something cost less. But lower price does not automatically equal value. Because if food goes uneaten, if products stay unused, if things end up forgotten in cupboards, the money is still gone. That mindset alone probably saved her hundreds every year. And the funny thing is, Gran Betty was not anti-enjoyment. She loved treats. She loved nice tea. She loved good chocolate. But she believed enjoyment worked best when chosen intentionally. That is why she created another brilliant system called the one luxury item rule. Only one unnecessary treat survived the trolley review. 1, not 6. So if she genuinely wanted expensive chocolate, wonderful. But then the luxury desserts and fancy crisps went back. Choose your pleasures carefully, she used to say. Otherwise nothing feels special anymore. That sentence becomes more powerful the older I get. Because modern life encourages constant consumption. Everything is immediate. Everything is available. Everything is marketed as deserved. Gran Betty believed endless indulgence quietly destroys appreciation. And honestly, I think she was right about that too. Now, one thing that fascinated me as a child was how little she cared about looking strange. I once asked whether she felt embarrassed leaving a trolley sitting unattended while we disappeared for tea. She laughed so loudly nearby shoppers turned around. I'd rather look odd for 30 minutes than work extra hours paying for nonsense. That sentence genuinely changed something in my brain. Because so much unnecessary spending comes from social pressure. People buy things to avoid discomfort, to reward themselves emotionally, to keep up with others, to feel successful, to avoid feeling left out. Gran Betty simply stopped caring what strangers thought, and that gave her enormous financial freedom. She once told me, "Rich habits often look boring in public." That line deserves to be framed somewhere, because she was absolutely right. Real financial stability usually looks quiet. It looks like patience, planning, restraint, small habits repeated consistently. Not flashy purchases, not emotional spending, not trying to impress strangers. And here is the incredible part. These tiny habits added up massively over time. I once watched Gran Betty remove nearly £20 worth of impulse purchases from the trolley in under 5 minutes. £20 for simply waiting half an hour. Think about that. £20 every week becomes over £1,000 a year. That is serious money. And Gran Betty treated those savings with enormous respect. She once told me the trolley sit habit eventually helped pay for a brand new washing machine when her old one finally broke. No panic, no debt, no credit cards, no financial crisis. Just years of tiny smart decisions quietly protecting her future. That was another thing she understood beautifully. Small financial habits rarely feel dramatic in the moment. But over years, they completely changed lives. Gran Betty used to say, "It's never one big mistake sinking people. It's hundreds of tiny leaks." And honestly, that applies to almost everything now. Subscriptions, delivery apps, online shopping, flash sales, impulse spending late at night. Modern companies study human weakness professionally. They know exactly how tired brains behave, exactly how boredom behaves, exactly how loneliness behaves, exactly how stress behaves. Gran Betty somehow understood all of that instinctively. Now supermarkets today are even more dangerous than when she first invented the Trolley Sit. Now we have loyalty apps, personalized offers, online recommendations, self-checkouts rushing people faster, notifications following you around all day. Gran Betty would have spotted the manipulation immediately. Convenience becomes expensive when nobody pauses anymore, she would say. And honestly, that sentence applies to modern life perfectly. That is why her methods still work brilliantly today. Maybe even better than before. If leaving a trolley feels uncomfortable, use a handbasket instead. Smaller capacity naturally limits emotional spending. If shopping online, use Gran Betty's digital version. Fill your basket completely, then walk away for 30 minutes before checkout. When you come back, remove at least 5 unnecessary items before paying. You would be amazed how many things suddenly stop feeling urgent. And here is the deeper truth I finally realized years later. Gran Betty was never really teaching me how to grocery shop. She was teaching me how to slow down in a world designed to keep people reactive. She was teaching me that patience protects money, that emotional decisions are expensive, that calm thinking creates stability. Most importantly, she taught me that financial peace is usually built quietly, not through dramatic changes, not through winning lotteries, not through pretending to be wealthy, but through hundreds of small moments where people pause before saying yes. And honestly, I think that lesson matters more now than ever, because modern life constantly pressures people to consume faster. Faster shopping, faster delivery, faster payments, one-click purchases, buy now, pay later, instant everything. Gran Betty moved slowly on purpose. And somehow slowing down made her financially stronger than most people rushing around her. So here is my challenge for you this week. Try Gran Betty's 30-minute trolley sit just once. Just once. Then come back here and tell me. What was the strangest thing you almost bought? What went back onto the shelf? How much money did you save? And if you are officially joining the Gran Betty community, comment 30-minute trolley sit below, because I genuinely love seeing how many people are trying these old school habits again. Honestly, some of your stories in the comments remind me so much of Gran Betty, and they make my day every single week. And if this video helped you rethink spending, made you laugh, or reminded you of somebody wise in your own family, please take a second to like the video, because it genuinely helps more people discover Gran Betty's money wisdom. Share this with someone who always comes home with mysterious impulse purchases they definitely did not plan to buy. And subscribe for more timeless saving habits, practical financial systems, old school wisdom, and calming money advice that still works beautifully today. And whatever you do next, make sure you watch the next episode in Gran Betty's Money Wisdom series, because that is where she shares her most powerful lessons about debt, savings, emotional spending, financial peace, and protecting yourself in a world constantly trying to sell you something. Trust me. Once you start thinking like Gran Betty, even a supermarket starts looking completely different.